Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, the 3rd of April, and I really hope you're doing well this morning. Can you believe it's the end of the second week of the lockdown? Quite incredible, really, how we're adapting to things and carrying on. Got quite a lot of news for you today. As you've probably seen, the great news is the government have intervened as promised on the bank funding situation. We reported in the week, having done our extensive research, that the loans were proving quite challenging to get hold of, and that you had to, if you're a viable business and you qualified for a commercial rate loan, then they were putting onto those more expensive products. Well, the bank have intervened, hurrah, and they're now saying that any business, any viable business, can now access the CBIL loans, which means it's the interest-free for a year, it's fee-free, and there's no repayments for a year. So I'm guessing that means that banks can no longer put you onto a standard product if you need help because of the coronavirus issue. So I think that is incredibly good news for people who've been struggling to access the money. It doesn't, of course, help those who don't have a viable business in view of the banks. We don't know what's going to follow from there, how those people can get help and support in their business, but that's where we are as at this morning. They have now confirmed there will be no personal guarantees under £250,000. And again, I know that doesn't help the lots of businesses we've spoken to in the last day that have loan requirements over 250. That's all we know as of this morning. As you know, we stick to the facts. And they're going to make sure that there's faster processing. A big criticism has been the length of time trying to get through to the banks and the processing time, talking 4 to 6 weeks minimum, which is just going to be far, far too long for most businesses out there for sure. What faster processing means, we don't know, because the banks are absolutely inundated. They have people off sick. They don't have the resources to cope. So as with all these things, we get the announcement and then the detail will follow. We will, of course, keep you up to date with everything we know. Now, yesterday saw a really exciting event unfolding. The IOD, Institute of Directors, have now petitioned the government, well, not sure petition, but they've approached the government, campaigning for the fact that the small business owners who pay themselves by dividends should be getting the 80% / £2,500 support. Now, that would help out just so many people. I mean, people like myself are in that category where there's no support to claim on at all. They're also talking about grants for people who don't have commercial premises, which is an interesting angle I'd not thought of. I fall into that category too. We do have, of course, a lot of business expenses that we have, no way of covering necessarily. So that's an interesting development, and the IOD do have a lot of weight. I know that's supporting what Emma Jones at Enterprise Nation is asking for as well. And the Shadow Chancellor's joined in as well. So we're not a minority voice, and we're not being forgotten here. And credit to the Chancellor, he has been listening to people and he has been putting things right. So we can only keep things crossed and hope he helps us too. But as I've always said before, you must assume that that's not going to happen, and you can't build that into your plans. You've got to bank on the fact that the support won't be there. If something comes out, it's going to be a bonus. I had a good question from a client yesterday about furlough, and she was asking, given that her and actually a lot of businesses only started their furlough process this week, or maybe the back end of last week, some are doing it from April, when does a 3-month period run from? And I thought, that's a really great question, because they're talking about 3 months. So I checked this out with our resident guru, Angela Rhodes, and she is saying at the moment the furlough period is March, April, May. So if you're only just furloughing now or last week, you're only getting the 2 months cover. I asked her what she thought about the chances of it being extended. She feels that's likely, but again, we cannot guarantee that, and you shouldn't plan. So please, in your cash flows, only assume furlough for March, April and May for that grant coming back in. We're seeing some good news in the group yesterday as well about grants coming through. So a lot of people are hearing from their councils, and they're getting those grants being processed, which is great to hear that moving. And we've also heard of quite a few people getting their loans approved with the bank. So clearly that sort of initial backlog is starting to shift and people are getting those approved. So we're really, really thrilled to hear about all that. And one of our members, Anna Price, is on a phone call with the British Business Bank this morning, and she came to the group yesterday asking what questions we would like answered, and she's promised to feed us back the outcome of that call this morning. So another inside track there. And we've also heard back from the president of our chamber in the East Midlands, who has also agreed to support us and help us. So again, she has a voice through to government, and she has the backing of all the business owners in the East Mids. So again, that's another power to our voice, I guess. And we're now approaching 2,400 members So yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. Now this morning there is an Ask Rishi Q&A on Twitter, and we're asking all the people in our group to please take part. Please keep asking the question we most want answered. Will you please reconsider the people who have fallen through the funding gaps in the support package? That's the self-employed, people who dared to make over £50,000 profit, people who've got less than 3 years accounts, people who are on dividends. There's millions of people in that gap. So we're asking, please ask that question. Will you please reconsider and look at the people who are falling through that gap? And one last point, we see a lot on the group of people who are getting quite bizarre advice from various sources, often Twitter, often different Facebook places. To be careful where you're getting your advice from. There's a lot of people out there with lots of opinions, and I know the HR advisors are getting very frustrated with the different quality of advice, shall we say, that's out there. Please make sure you only get the facts. Don't go and act off speculation and rumour. And as you know, that's what we're very big on here. If you want to get the facts, we'll have them. Look through our information, ask on our group, and just make sure you only get advice from people who are actually experts in their field. So I know we've said there's a lot of good news in there. We're not, of course, making light of the fact that so many people are still desperately struggling and don't have answers to these problems yet. We're not taking that lightly. We're not letting up on that at all. But we have to give credit where it's due. There is some good stuff happening and things are moving in the right direction. And just a little note today, we're introducing Friday Fun for a bit of light relief. And again, we're not diminishing the problems that are out there, but we're all working our socks off, and quite frankly, we need a bit of light relief. So there'll be a bit of fun stuff going on the Facebook page today, if you'd like to join in with that. And I guess that's it for today. I can get a lie in tomorrow morning, which will be fantastic. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for your support. Have a great weekend, and we'll pick up again on Monday. Bye.